Norma's coming after all of us.
I'm tired of being on defense. We need to get on offense. I love you, but I'll put a bullet in you.
So power really is the vicious cycle which leads characters to test their ethics, their morality, and those who often have this desire for power and control have to do some pretty ruthless things in the street game. It then creates a cycle with them having to do whatever it takes to maintain their position, because there are going to be people who know too much information who need to be dealt with, enemies in the street game as well as in the boardroom, and betrayal from those you put your trust in, especially when it comes to Tariq St Patrick, who in the season trailer for Power Book 2 Go Season 3 says, "I love you, but I'll put a bullet in you." So in this video, we're going to be breaking down some of the main scenes from the official season trailer, a season which looks like it's going to be Power Book 2 Ghost's bloodiest yet, as we see a lot of our characters pulling the trigger, with even Davis pulling the strap, and Tariq ain't the only one who's on demon time. But the trailer is more than just about blood. We're about to break this down in terms of Effie and Tariq's relationship, how Noma has a stranglehold of Tariq and the rest of the crew, how Kane seems to have figured out Lorenzo killed Zeke, but how law enforcement are going to be building a RICO against Tariq St Patrick, the Tejadas, and Davis Maclean. So the RICO investigation may force some to take matters into their own hands in Power Book 2 Ghost Season 3. Now in the official season trailer for Ghost Season 3, Tariq says that he started a cycle of shit that he just can't get away from, and although we can't see it in this trailer, he's actually talking to Effie. This was one of the teasers that was released before the season where Tariq was in conversation with Effie. Now what's ironic is, we started season 3 with a 3-month time jump, and it seems like Tariq, Effie, and Brayden have had somewhat of a break from selling drugs.
But to be honest, I feel kind of a relief not having to worry about this shit for a while.
So for the first time in a while, Tariq has had a bit of a respite from moving weight. So for the best part of 3 months, he was just kicking it with Effie, and like he said, it was a relief. But this cycle of shit was always going to come back to haunt Tariq. Now we can go as far back as Power when we talk about vicious cycles for Tariq St Patrick, but for this particular cycle and what brought Tariq back into the game is Noma. Davis Maclean put Mecca's ring in an auction house, and that caught the owner's eye. So that brought Noma to New York and to Mecca's penthouse seeking answers, and now Tariq is right back where he was, forced to move weight and back in the game he so badly wants out of. Now what else was said in this conversation will reveal a lot about both of these characters, and this was from the teaser that was posted on social media before season 3. Despite Effie and Tariq being in a relationship and spending the best part of 3 months together, there is still a hell of a lot they don't know about each other. Tariq leaves the wake of bodies in his past, with everybody who he gets close to ending up dead or gone, and on the other hand, Effie has a secret about Lauren. Now this is a secret that seems to be eating away at Tariq at the beginning of season 3. Even if he is with Effie, Lauren still remains on his mind, and that's because he feels somewhat responsible, but so does Brayden Weston. This scene seems like it's from episode 2 based on the shirt that Brayden's wearing, and he wants to tell Tariq about Lauren, but Effie says they're taking it to the grave, and none of them know at this moment in time Lauren is alive, despite many of them believing Effie is a CI, which I personally don't think is the case. Now not only did I break down why I don't think Effie is a current CI, Alex Lepre, who plays Effie, reposted a section of my video where I broke down why she's not the CI, so make of that what you will. Now although I still do maintain, survival mode in this game can make people turn, so that is something to bear in mind, but at this moment in time, neither Effie, Brayden, Kane, nor Tariq know that Lauren is alive, and before the truth is revealed, it will cause a shitstorm between them, because regardless of Lauren being alive or not, it comes down to betrayal, broken promises, and trust, which really will be hard to rebuild. So Lauren is back, but she wants the truth, and I can only assume she's talking to Jenny Sullivan because nobody else knows she's alive. She's keeping this from Cooper Sachs, Detective Whitman, and also Blanca Rodriguez.
How much longer do I have to pretend that I'm dead?
Now Lauren doesn't seem like she's in the best of places after being locked up for 3 months, and this is the thing we need to be mindful of. She's been kept in a safe house for 3 months, pretending to be dead. She's had no contact with friends or family on the outside world. So what do you think that's going to do to the mindset of Lauren? I do think that's something we do need to bear in mind, especially as it seems like she's escaped, but finds herself in trouble. So I don't know how long Jenny can keep Lauren locked away, but she will try until she can build a bulletproof case against Tariq St Patrick and the Tejadas because she wants to lock someone up. So a heavy focus this season is going to be on the RICO investigation. On the board, we have Tariq, Davis, Monet, Lorenzo, Kane, Drew, as well as Rashad Tate. Now just a quick one. I do know there was something in this teaser that was kind of considered spoilery, but I'm going to stay away from that because I hate spoilers myself and I would hate to ruin it for you guys as well. So there will be a small part of this season trailer I won't be covering. Now Blanca Rodriguez says that she'll bet aroused that Tariq and Brayden are selling from Western Holdings, and she's not wrong. But it is one thing being right, but a whole different ballgame in getting the evidence and proving it. And the classic example was how law enforcement knew James St Patrick was Ghost in power, but how difficult was it to prove this in a court of law? Even till this day, they were unable to prove James was Ghost, and that's why Blanca Rodriguez and Jenny Sullivan have a battle on their hands with Tariq St Patrick. He's just like his father Ghost, and he's proven to be at every single turn. Whether he can surpass him is another question entirely, but in terms of the RICO investigation, how do they get the evidence that they're moving weight at Western Holdings? Now, I've always maintained Braden's choice of women isn't always the best after what happened with Riley, so maybe Kiki Travis could be Blanca Rodriguez and Jenny Sullivan's way in, or potentially even Trace Weston. But at this moment in time, I'm leaning towards Kiki, because even though Trace has a tendency to run his mouth, he is scared of somewhat of what Tariq and Kane are capable of, whereas love makes you blind. Just look at what's happened with Cooper Saxe being played by Jenny. So I wouldn't be surprised if the same thing happened to Braden, with Kiki being a crucial part to the RICO investigation, and Blanca Rodriguez and Jenny's way in. Now, one thing Power Book 2 Go Season 3 has done well so far, even though it's only been one episode, but it's the way they've managed to introduce the ruthless new Connect and her right-hand man Obi. She certainly strikes fear into Tariq St Patrick and the rest of the crew. And this is something I said before, Tariq working directly under someone like Nomar is getting into a cycle of shit, just like he says. There will be no escaping, because Nomar runs a global empire, and she thinks Tariq and his team have a bright and long future with her. But that's the last thing Tariq wanted. He wanted out of the game, and it was a relief for a brief period where he wasn't moving weight. But sleepy time's over. Tariq's got a gun pointed right in his direction, directly in his face. So it does seem like the New York Serbs are back in town. Now, whether they're working for or against Nomar is yet to be seen, and whether they have a connection to Chicago, who knows. But how Tariq has his back against the wall and a gun to his face. At some stage in the season, he's going to be tired of being on defense. He says they need to get on the offense. So we see Braden and Tariq in a shootout at the warehouse, Nomar pulling the trigger, and also Lorenzo. So there is going to be a hell of a lot of gunfire in this season. But as we're talking about pulling the trigger and Tariq being on demon time, at the end of the trailer we see him telling someone he loves them, but he will put a bullet in them, who I can only assume he's talking about either Effie or Lauren. But honestly, it really is a guessing game when it comes to Power's trailers, because they really do a good job at manipulating the trailers. Now, Zeke's death has caused a huge shift in the Tejada household, and just think about this for a moment. Monet was left Mecca's penthouse. We then saw her pull over Drew and Kane, and tell them both that they're moving into his penthouse until she puts it on the market. But this isn't the Monet we've been accustomed to for 2 seasons. In other words, what she was telling Drew and Kane, here's your freedom. She's letting them go and live outside the Tejada household, which is the complete opposite of what she was doing for the best part of 2 seasons. In season 1 and 2, we saw her try and keep each and every single one of her kids in line, and even at times, treating them like kids. But Zeke's death seems to have destroyed her during this early part of season 3, but you can bet, nothing is going to stop her from getting revenge. But while Monet seeks revenge, Lorenzo is going to be hard at work to try and cover his tracks. And I wouldn't be surprised if he was the one who set Drew up to get beat and robbed, because he says whoever did that to Drew probably got Zeke. But he really is just digging his own grave at this moment in time, and someone who is passing the shovel to is Kane. Kane says that Monet may have bought that shit, but not him. And Kane definitely now knows it's Lorenzo, and he's going to use that as leverage to get Lorenzo to jump when he says jump, as well as leading the Tejada organization. Now on Drew getting a beatdown, he looks like he's returning for revenge himself, and this is the time for Drew to step up. Is he in the game, or is his mind with Ev and living a life of fantasy? He really needs to make a choice this season, and he seems like he's making it. Now, someone who seems to be making the same choices as they did last season is Diana. In this trailer, it seems like Diana is looking for something or snooping around under someone's bed, and this is something we've seen far too often both in seasons 1 and 2. So what will Diana find this time, and whose stuff is she snooping around? Is it someone at home, or could it be a new roommate, Rebecca Weston, or potentially even Salim, who she could be romantically involved with? Either way, Diana's back to her old tricks. Now elsewhere, things seem to be getting pretty serious for Davis, because he also pulls out the strap, with Tariq saying you can't do that. Now whether it's the same scene or not, who knows, because Power do love to manipulate these trailers. But one thing we can be sure of is Davis is going to be under more pressure than he's ever been before, and that's because he finds himself exposed. But why he's pulling out the strap and who he's gunning for, let's wait and see. Because if he's found out Saxe is working undercover for Jenny, it really is about to go down. But that's a breakdown of the season trailer, a season which no doubt looks bloodier, and one where Tariq is about to drop a hell of a lot of bodies. But he's not the only one with a gun in hand. Now, law enforcement will be looking for their very own smoking gun to bring down the entire drug enterprise, and where there are others that seem to be willing to get their hands dirty to make sure they stay out of harm's way. Now, what's crazy about this trailer and teasers that we've seen so far is I don't think we've seen anything from the last 2 or 3 episodes, which just goes to show this season really is insane. So drop all your thoughts down below on the season trailer, especially who you think Tariq is talking to when he says, "I love you, but I will put a bullet in you."
I love you, but I'll put a bullet in you.